My coverage of Computex 2023 is brought to you by Cooler Master, Gigabyte, G.Skill, and Thermaltake. Welcome back, everyone. We're at a different part of Taipei. We're at the Cooler Master headquarters because they have a special press event going on today, and they have a really awesome demo area here at their headquarters. The headquarters is very nice, and they've done a lot of custom design work just with this building. Like, they have an elevator with the Cooler Master logo on the roof and RGB. That's pretty cool. And they even have like a food truck out front called Cooler Bar. But I'm getting distracted. Let's start off with the setup they have right here behind me. So you guys know Cooler Master. They make lots of parts for computers, lots of components for computers. They have coolers, they have power supplies, they have cases, they have all manner of fans, and they're developing even more cool stuff for people who use computers. Not just like the components for people who build stuff, but also things for people's lifestyles, like streamers who stream, like photo and video editors who photo and video edit. This is a thing called the MasterHub, and I'm actually just going to show it to you right now, and then I'm going to switch to something completely different, which is their software, because you can't really have a good lifestyle setup to control all your hardware without some good software to tie it all together. So this is called MasterControl. This will allow you to control all of your Cooler Master hardware. Now, I was given a full rundown of what this software can do, and I'm not going to be able to tell you guys everything because it's really quite a few different functions it can do. Basically, the basic rundown is that you have lots of Cooler Master components installed in your system. You can tie them all together with this software to control them. For instance, the pump. You can set your pump curve right here so that your pump can be a little bit quieter depending on the temperature of your CPU, for example. The controls are conveniently sorted into sections, so you have lighting up here, you have cooling below that, you have power down here, and you have other stuff like an LCD control system. So if you have an LCD mounted to your CPU cooler, your AIO, you can easily control that over here to switch it to something functional like a clock, something functional like a cool little animation of Cooler Master, or one that shows your temperature. Very easy to switch that around, very easy to also adjust things like the colors to make everything match perfectly like we all like to do with our computers, and it's all located in one place. Cooler Master has even taken this a little bit further by introducing something called Master ID. So this is something that I'm sure some people are going to take advantage of it because it allows you to tie together all of your Cooler Master stuff. But you also have the option to not do this. So you can use the Master ID to log in and automatically pull up your settings. You got cloud-based storage right there. Once you're logged in, you're recognized as a user, and all of your settings are going to be there and easy for you to access. And again, the quick rundown of what this controls: personal info, account settings, change your password, manage your devices, export data as well. If you do not want to use the Master ID, though, you can still use the software. There is a perfectly fine to use offline mode. So choose the way you want to use the software, choose the way you want it to identify you or not identify you, and Cooler Master has you covered both ways. You might be able to tell Cooler Master has been putting a lot of work into the design and development of the UI to make sure that you can quickly access lots of information. So you got an entire history of all of the components that are being monitored in terms of temperature here. You can see a timeline of that really quickly to see if you have any random spikes, anything that might be going wrong. It's even got a system that's set up so if you are seeing like extremely high CPU temperatures or something like that, it will go through a three-step process, even eventually flashing your keyboard red to let you know, hey, something's wrong, in case you're not looking at this all the time. It'll also pop up notifications for you so you can quickly check out stuff if there's something like a firmware update. So if something went right, if something went wrong, you'll be notified right there. And again, just allowing you full control over your system. That is a quick rundown, a very quick rundown of the MasterControl software. All right, I'm pretty excited about this just because it's different, it's unique. It is, well, if you're looking at this part, yes, any of you who have seen a Stream Deck before might recognize something like this, but it is a controllable modular interface that doesn't just allow you to do, you know, the stuff that the Stream Deck does, but you also have some really cool add-ons like this. So this is called the MasterHub. This is going to be available later this year. They're talking about late November launch. That's going to be available for with a few different kits, and then you're also going to be able to buy individual pieces and components to add on, because this is a modular setup. This is the base of the unit. You have modular pieces that you can stick on like this. Cooler Master actually showed me this at CES, but then they're like, you can't tell anyone about it yet. And I was like, why, Cooler Master? That sucks. I want to tell people, but now I can. Now I can finally share this with you. But look, all you got to do is line up those tabs on the back, pop it on, voila. And if this board was connected, it would automatically pop up and give you access to controls. So whatever you might want to control, whether it's RGB, whether it's tying in specifically with software, because they're going to have an API for this that will allow it to connect to various pieces of software. They showed me a demo with the Adobe Suite where they were using this to basically scroll around the timeline and scrub. Right now it's just set to a basic adjust your volume with this one, and it's also got a display on there. These are all IPS displays. You got a couple roller bars right there. Even these keys here are IPS, and as you can see, they've all been customized. So you can change logos on this to give you shortcuts to access different things that you do with your computer quickly and easily. That is a 15-key IPS display module. They have several LCD displays. These are actually touch displays that you can add on here. Snap it on just like that. So they have a full-size 7-inch one right here that takes up pretty much the entire panel, but they also have some smaller ones like this one over here, 5-inch IPS touch display. This is what is known as the photo editor kit, which comes with the dials, the rollers, this dial with the LCD on it. You can add the cat image if you want to. And then here we've got a video editor kit. This is also in the landscape layout versus the portrait layout that you're seeing right over here. And this is going to give you sliders. I mean, who doesn't want to have sliders on their PC? Move them up, move them down. I'm not allowed to tell you guys what this is going to cost yet, but clearly, if you're looking at some of these, it is maybe a Stream Deck competitor, but I'd say quite a bit more than that because of the modularity, because of these extra components you can add on. And as long as they can keep that software going and make sure that this is really easy to use and it has a lot of cross functionality with a lot of the various pieces of software out there, I think this is going to be a successful product once again, coming later this year in November. Power supplies. I wanted to show you guys these two power supplies really quickly because they're kind of new, they're kind of fancy. Let's start with the one on the left. This is a 1300 watt power supply, which is part of their silent series. This one obviously has a fan, so it's not going to be 100% silent, but it is a very, very quiet fan. With a bit of active cooling on there, this power supply can supply 1300 watts of power, which is a good amount. This one, however, I found to be a little bit more interesting. Granted, these are part of the same series, which is the X Silent series. This is a 750 watt unit, which is completely passive. Passive power supplies are cool because they make zero noise. They actually can be called silent power supplies. You can see like a really cool kind of cage design on this that lets you see some of the internal componentry. There is space in there because again, this is chassis is designed to house a fan like the 1300 watt unit over there does, but they can also make it without the fan because it has plenty of passive cooling on the back. These fins here are providing a little bit more surface area for heat dissipation, and that is why you have a 750 watt passive power supply. This is the X Silent series. And I don't know if Fanless Tech is going to watch this video, but this is probably going to be a fan of this one. These are concept cases. Concept case means they're cases that are in development. So you might be familiar with the NR200P from Cooler Master, which is a Mini-ITX case, which includes the case, the power supply, and the cooler. They're taking that concept and applying it to this case here, which is going to be a mainstream case, which is going to be more affordable. The idea is that the components that are included here, which includes a 360 millimeter all-in-one radiator, as well as the case, as well as the power supply on the bottom, are going to cost less than if you were to buy those components all together. The idea is that you could build the entire system basically without having to remove the rear panel because you have pass-throughs for all of your main power supply plugs, the 24 pin there. You've got a couple 8 pins up there at top for your CPU. You've even got a 12 VH power down here, as well as an 8-pin standard PEG power connector. And all you got to do is plug in extensions to those, plug them into your motherboard. These extensions are temporary, by the way. They have mentioned they want to make these a little bit shorter, make those a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And then over here you have the high-end version of that, which is a much wider case, you can see from this side. It also has some gold on top, which is supposed to reflect like the sunset that they get here at the Cooler Master headquarters in Taiwan, which is kind of cool. Maybe that's your thing, maybe it's not. But some cool features here are a 420 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler that's integrated here. That's also a 38 millimeter radiator with very dense fins. So they're saying this is basically going to compete in terms of performance with a custom liquid cooling setup. With this, you're of course going to get the case, you're going to get the power supply, you're going to get the all-in-one liquid cooler pre-installed. You're still going to have those pass-throughs that come from the back for connecting up the power to your motherboard. They're even developing kind of a cool mounting system for the motherboard with these little peg standoffs here that lets you sort of slot the motherboard in on top of the pegs, and then you just shift it to the right, and that kind of locks it in place, so it even helps you not have to screw in as many screws. Several cool innovations with this case. They even have sort of a diffuser panel there at the front with some white light, shining light back across the components. Rather than having the components light up and light other parts of the case, they're like, why not light the components themselves? So let me know what you guys think of both of these concept cases from Cooler Master in the comments. Next up over here we have the NCore 100 Max. This is a case that's in development, although they're pretty far along. They're actually planning to launch this also come November, and it's going to be a fairly expensive case, but it's not just a case. Once again, we have an integrated case, Mini-ITX, tower style case, vertical tower style case with chimney cooling. It's also including an 850 watt power supply and a custom all-in-one liquid cooler, which you can kind of see at the top right here. That has a 140 millimeter fan. It is a thicker all-in-one liquid cooler, which I believe is a 40 millimeter. This is a Mini-ITX chassis, of course, but they have designed it to accommodate up to an RTX 4090. And you might be looking down here and thinking, well, RTX 4090s can get pretty fat. This has a 2-slot setup right now. It could fit a 3-slot card. But if you see these little tabs at the bottom, you can actually remove 2 screws, and you can sort of expand the base of this card, and that will widen it up a little bit, so you could fit a 4-slot cooler in there. So that's kind of nice. Also some nice color accents, like the turquoise version over here has a turquoise riser cable, which I thought was cool. There's sort of this copper or bronze finish one, which also looks really nice. They have not decided on the colors for these cases yet, so if you guys want to let Cooler Master know what you think. Do you like the copper bronze one? Do you like this turquoise finish one? These are aluminum exterior panels. They have a pretty unique design on the ventilation there on the side too. That does have mesh on the back to provide a little bit of dust filtration. So here they're showing off these cool like turquoise and bronze colors. They might also do it in black, a simple black. There's a lot of debate going on today as to which color they should make this case in. So again, let us know in the comments what color you would prefer most for the NCore 100 Max. Any of you guys Street Fighter fans out there? Street Fighter is available on a lot of different platforms, but PC is a very popular one because of the wide variety of peripherals, connectors, and stuff like that that can be attached up. Cooler Master has been working directly with Street Fighter to create some custom designs, custom artwork for the cases you can see here, looking really nice. It's the TD500 Mesh V2 Street Fighter Edition over there for the cases. They also have, I'm not going to list all these, but you can see we've got some air coolers over here. We have a Chun-Li Edition all-in-one liquid cooler. We have the CH331 headset right there, and we have a nice looking keyboard down here with some yellow and blue keycaps. That is the CK570, by the way. But it's not just these components that Cooler Master is working on. They're also going to be hosting some Street Fighter tournaments. So for any of you out there who are Street Fighter fans, keep an eye out for when those go live. Guys, I have a special exclusive interview with the CEO of Cooler Master. This is Jimmy.
Hi everybody.
Jimmy.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you for talking to us today. So I have 3 very important questions for Jimmy about Cooler Master, their efforts, 2023 and beyond, and the stuff they're working on. The first thing that I saw here was your sustainability initiative. A lot of new cases, new components that you're trying to use recycled materials for as much as possible, different packing methods to keep the weight down, to reduce the fuel usage. What caused you to decide to do that, and how are you going to move forward with that in the future?
Okay. Sustainability is kind of the very important issue for the environment right now. So we are trying very hard about how we are studying from the material. So how the material is able to help for the environment. So it came from the crown, maybe came from the devices, etc., or the coffee bean, that kind of stuff. They're trying to using that kind of stuff to becoming like the resin. You mean the resin of the plastic? Okay. So the plastic we're trying to using the different kind of the mix. So what will be the best scenario of the ratio in combining with the original plastic, as long as with that kind of the material we were studying at the moment right now.
It's usually a mix of some is recycled, some
it's a mix, material. The recycled material, yes, if you are going to use it as 100%, it's going to be heavily suffered of the kind of strength, right? Okay. So the mechanical stuff still need a little bit of the strength on there. So the more we decrease, the better for the environment. And that is the part we are trying to develop. Same for the packaging. So the packaging, as you can see from some of the brand, they are using the paper cardboard, those kind of things, getting more and more. And then we're also trying to decreasing, starting from the EPO, EPE, and then going to beyond like the paper cardboard as well. But the material-wise, still, there's if you're using the over design of the packaging, going to be still having the waste. So that is how we are trying to very hard to see how we're going to reduce the size of the packaging, but we don't put the thing that where it's not really necessary for the users. Yeah.
And it still needs to reach the end user safely and everything as well. So finding that balance between sustainability and making sure that they get the product.
Exactly.
That's a challenge. Another thing that I've seen here is a lot more products beyond the typical components, the PC components, coolers, power supplies, everything that you guys might be familiar with seeing from Cooler Master. You're branching into lifestyle components, lifestyle things. What does lifestyle mean, and what are the products that you're bringing to market?
It's such a very good question, though. You know, we were very struggling to spell about what is a tech lifestyle is, but actually tech lifestyle is happening every single day with us. So, for example, that we have a lot of different kind of individuals. Recently, we have like influencers, creators, or those kind of small business people who are really using all of the gear every single day. But, well, that is not just about the tool. How we are able to get those tool machine becoming like part of your life. So then we created all the different kind of vertical. So for example, you're going to see later on, we're going to have the racing setup, or those kind of racing setup. It's not just for fun.
Yeah.
It's about you're able to grab all the different kind of materials, to become the system, then in using that system for the different kind of the verticals, where you are using a racing gear, where you are using the component for creating your job, or photo editing that we are doing here. You are doing that thing every single day.
Exactly.
So those are the things that's how we are able to make an entire ecosystem for people able to enjoy their life. But it's not just about, okay, I got a pressure, I've got a pressure to do my work. But the thing is that whenever you sit on top, well, okay, I can do the live, maybe 5 minutes break, I can watch my movie, etc. Then those are the things we are trying to equip all the different kind of products came from the Cooler Master as an original component to becoming the ecosystem to bring out over. Then that's the reason why we also are launching the MasterHub and also the MasterControl. The MasterControl is going to be the one that able to connect all the different kind of the products, components from the Cooler Master.
Okay.
Then we're using that kind of the techniques to develop one of the things called MasterHub. So people knows about the Stream Deck or the thing who are using like Adobe, they are using all the different kind of hacking by using those kind of machine for increasing or improving their job performance.
Yeah.
But what about the things that it's not just for the dedicating version or usage? It's what about it can be using on one hand for fan, one hand for the professional, or even for the music composing. So those are the things that has to be connected all together with the ecosystem, what we are talking about just now, through the software, and then making the Cooler Master product becoming part of just not a system. It's about the ecosystem. We are able to connect all the different kind of products to that for the users from the individuals.
Okay.
That's how we're trying to provide.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
It's a very important one. You are a native Taiwanese, but I wanted to know, where should I get dinner tonight? Because what's your recommended restaurant to go
Downstairs.
to? Downstairs?
Downstairs.
Right here.
Downstairs right here.
Go to the Cooler Bar.
Cooler Bar.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Cooler Master is not just about the tech lifestyle. When we're talking about the tech lifestyle, it's not just from the machining wise. Okay, we would like to having people when we talk about life, you eat, you drink, you're having fun. Okay,
That's true.
So those kind of stuff. The entire building here is going to be starting from the fooding, and people can grab the cup of coffee. You don't need to have to get into the meeting room for the meeting. You can just go downstairs any single time
right there.
to try to having the creativity. So if you want to have the decent food, downstairs is going to be the best choice for today.
Okay. Well, now we know where we're getting dinner too. Jimmy, thank you very much for talking to me today.
Thank you.
Cooler Master makes fans, of course. They make some of the nicest fans that are available. They developed a lot of technology for the motors and everything, and we covered that at CES, so we're not going to talk about it too much. But I did want to talk about AIOs. This one is already out. Let's talk about this one. This is the new flagship, the Master Liquid 360 Atmos. New design for the heatsink pump down there at the bottom. It's a swappable interior. They've actually got a 3D printed model that you can use to pop that out, replace it. And this is part of their sustainable line. They're using a certain amount of recycled material in each one of these. It was explained to me at some point, it's like 30% for some stuff for the plastic, and it's like 15% for some other stuff. As Jimmy probably mentioned, finding the right balance between using recycled materials and using new materials to make sure that the product is still up to snuff is a difficult challenge, but Cooler Master is doing as much of that as they can. These are going to use the new Sickle Flow Edge fans, and it also has a dual chamber pump. If you would like to liquid cool on a budget, you might be familiar with the Master Liquid L series or Lite series. They now have the L Core series. These are both new. We have the 360L Core White right here, which has a new Gen S pump, expanded radiator surface area, premium cryo-fused thermal paste, And a pretty cool look for your pump block combo right there with a little bit of RGB, tastefully done. Also going to be available in 240mm, the 240L Core ARGB. So for anyone who's looking for an affordable all-in-one liquid cooler, the Cooler Master Lite series being redesigned is good news. Air coolers are really nice, of course, because, well, I like air coolers. I find them to be quite reliable. Cooler Master has a couple here that are new, coming out soon, maybe already available depending on your region. If you're in the US, this one here, the Master Air MA824 Stealth, should be launching mid-July. So this is their new flagship, top-end, big and bold CPU cooler, and they're using a brand new heat pipe that they've developed themselves in this particular unit, and they actually have a really cool demo going on over here. They turn it on and it changes color. Now this isn't going to be something that's coming to the retail model. They've actually put a color changing paint on the exterior of this one, but it was really cool to see the heat going from the base plate, creeping up the heat pipes, eventually saturating all of those fins. It actually turned a fairly vivid orange color when it was all warmed up, and then it actually cooled off nicely too. They were leaving the fan off just for the purposes of the demo to show how the heat travels up through the pipes. So just a pretty cool visual to show how these air coolers actually heat up. And I guess if you'd like Cooler Master to, actually sell a cooler that has that paint on it for color changing, let me know. Let me know in the comments. One more here is this next gen 3D VC cooler. This one is not out now, and they do not have an ETA on it because it's still in development. But they are once again going for a vapor chamber solution. So it's a vapor chamber at the bottom. What's different? Well, what's different is they're now using those newly designed heat pipes that I just showed you in the other cooler, and they stuck them to the vapor chamber. That's a very basic way of putting it, but the heat pipes are stuck to the vapor chamber, pass up through the cooler. They're developing this to make sure it actually performs quite well when they launch it. But that's one thing I always like to do when I'm at these shows, is show the products that are coming out soon and also show the products that are still in the works. Let me just say, Cooler Master might possibly have too much stuff here at Computex. The last thing they showed me was the SS571. They have an entirely new department that's working on audio components, and this is a new speaker setup. It's a 2.1 setup, so it comes with 2 speakers and a subwoofer, but it is quite unique for a few different reasons. For one thing, the speakers only need power plugs. They communicate wirelessly to do the actual sound stuff, and they actually do that with very low latency, less than 20 milliseconds. Cooler Master has also developed their own sound processing software. You might have heard of DTS. These speakers are capable of DTS, but they also have Cooler Master sound. They showed us a demo comparing one to the other, and there was definitely a distinct difference between the two, perhaps a little bit crisper on the Cooler Master side, definitely more bass. It was definitely louder. That made it a little bit more challenging to do that comparison. But the speakers have a ton of functionality: Bluetooth 5.2, SBC, AAC, USB Toslink, aux in, of course. But they're fancy features that you can take them from a stereo setup with 2 of them standing up on their side. You might notice they have RGB lighting. You can connect them together in the middle to make them into a soundbar. The 2 center speakers become a center speaker. So depending on the type of media you're consuming, you can switch them back and forth. Those speakers are also still in development, so look for them towards the end of this year or possibly in 2024. But that is all the time I have here at the Cooler Master headquarters. I want to say a huge thank you to my sponsors for Computex 2023, Cooler Master, G.Skill, Gigabyte, and Thermaltake. I have lots more content coming at you guys real soon, so hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and we'll see you all in the next video. You just got to walk away at the end like, I don't care about that anymore. What? Like a boss.